It usually happens when the room is finally quiet. The lights are low, your baby is asleep on their back. Their breathing changes a little. Their eyelids flutter, and then out of nowhere, a tiny smile appears. Not a big grin, just a brief, mysterious little smile that seems to come from some secret world you cannot see. And in that moment, almost every parent thinks the same thing. Are they having a happy dream? Do they know I'm here? Are they feeling safe, full, loved? Or is this just one of those random baby things no one can really explain? That's what makes it so powerful. Because a baby smiling in sleep feels like a message. It feels meaningful, personal, almost magical. And the truth is, it is meaningful, just maybe not in the way most people assume. What's happening in that tiny sleeping face is actually connected to one of the most fascinating parts of early human development. It touches sleep science, brain wiring, reflexes, emotion, and the strange way newborns practice life before they can fully live it awake. So yes, that smile matters. But it may not mean your baby is dreaming about angels, milk, or your voice, the way people on the internet love to say. In fact, what's really happening is much deeper than most parents realize. Because to understand why babies smile in their sleep, we first have to look at the explanation everyone repeats, and why that explanation is only part of the story. The common explanation is simple. Your baby is smiling because they're having a sweet dream. And honestly, it makes sense why parents love that idea. It is comforting. It turns an ordinary sleep moment into proof that your baby is happy on the inside. It gives that tiny smile a storyline. But science is much more careful here. Researchers do know that most sleep smiles in newborns happen during active sleep, the baby version of REM sleep. This is the lighter, busier stage of sleep, where the eyes may move under the lids, breathing can become irregular, and the face and body may twitch, jerk, grimace, suck, or smile. In other words, sleep in early infancy is not still. It is active, noisy, and neurologically busy. And that changes everything. Because when adults smile in sleep, we often imagine a dream behind it. But newborns are not just mini adults. Their brains are developing at a breathtaking pace, and many of their expressions are not yet social in the way older babies' expressions are. That's why experts make an important distinction between spontaneous smiles and social smiles. A spontaneous smile can happen from birth, often during sleep, and usually without any clear outside trigger. A social smile, the one that happens in response to your face, your voice, your presence, usually becomes more reliable around 6 to 8 weeks. So when a very young baby smiles in sleep, it is usually not the same thing as a baby smiling at you while awake. That does not make it meaningless. It just means the smile is probably not a tiny love letter from a dream. It may be something even more interesting. Because now we have to ask a better question. If that smile is not mainly social, then what is the baby brain actually doing? One of the deepest clues comes from how much time babies spend in active sleep. In the early weeks, babies spend a huge portion of their sleep in this state, far more than adults do. And that's not a design flaw. It appears to be part of the design itself. Active sleep seems to be a workshop for the developing brain. During this stage, the nervous system is not shutting down. It is organizing, firing, connecting, testing patterns. Newborn sleep looks restless because the brain is busy building systems that will later support movement, emotion, attention, memory, and communication. That little smile may be part of that practice. Studies on newborn sleep smiling have found that these smiles occur almost entirely during active sleep and are closely linked with rapid eye movements. Some researchers believe this points to spontaneous brain activity, helping stimulate the circuits involved in facial expression. In simple terms, your baby may not be smiling because they are reacting to a funny dream. They may be smiling because the brain is rehearsing how to smile at all.
That is such a beautiful idea. Before your baby can use a smile to connect with you, their brain may first be exploring the machinery of smiling from the inside. The face moves, the pathways fire, the muscles coordinate, the expression appears, not as a polished social signal yet, but as a kind of early neurological rehearsal. And this is where many parents feel unexpected relief, because what looks random may actually be a sign of healthy activity, not proof of a perfect sleeper, not proof of an advanced baby, just proof that early sleep is not empty, it is productive. Your baby is not doing nothing in those hours. Some of the most important developmental work is happening while they look completely unaware. But there's another twist here, and it makes sleep smiles even more fascinating. Because some scientists think these expressions are not just practice, they may also reveal the first raw ingredients of emotion itself.
Here's where the mystery gets even deeper. A newborn sleep smile may be spontaneous, but spontaneous does not mean meaningless. Very early in life, babies already have internal states. They experience comfort, discomfort, shifts in temperature, fullness, hunger, release of tension, bodily sensations, and changing levels of arousal. Their nervous system is constantly responding to what is happening inside them, even when they are asleep. That is why some experts think a sleep smile can also be linked to internal sensations, not only brain rehearsal. A full belly, passing gas, changes in arousal, or waves of activation in the brain and body may all contribute. In other words, the smile may not be social, but it still comes from a real living system having real experiences. And this matters because parents often hear two extremes. Either the smile means everything, your baby is dreaming of happiness, or it means nothing. It's just a reflex. The truth is more nuanced. It may be reflexive, but reflexes in infancy are not pointless accidents. They are part of development. They are the body and brain learning how to become intentional. The earliest smile in sleep may not yet be communication, but it may be laying the groundwork for future communication. That's why the timeline matters so much. In the first weeks, many smiles are more likely to be spontaneous and tied to sleep states. Then gradually, as the visual system, social attention, and brain networks mature, the smile changes. It becomes more outward, more responsive, more relational. Around 2 months, many babies begin giving true social smiles while awake, especially in response to voices and faces. So the smile you see in sleep is not the final version. It is more like a preview. A quiet, fleeting preview of the expressive, responsive little person your baby is becoming. And once you see it that way, the meaning of that smile becomes less about decoding a dream and more about understanding a process. Which leads to the part parents care about most. What does this actually mean for you in the middle of real life, real nights, and real exhaustion? For many parents, the emotional meaning of sleep smiles is not scientific at all. It is survival. When you are sleep deprived, questioning everything, and wondering whether your baby is okay, one tiny smile in the dark can feel like hope. It can feel like reassurance that somewhere inside all the crying, waking, fussing, and unpredictability, your baby is okay. And in a gentle way, that feeling is not wrong. A baby smiling in sleep is usually a normal part of early sleep development. It often shows up during active sleep, the same stage where babies may twitch, suck, make little sounds, or briefly look as if they are about to wake when they are still asleep. Sometimes parents accidentally scoop the baby up too soon because active sleep can look so awake, but often the baby is simply cycling through a normal phase. So one practical meaning of sleep smiling is this. Not every movement, sound, or expression during sleep means your baby needs intervention. Sometimes the best response is to pause, watch, and give it a moment. At the same time, there is one careful caution worth holding on to without panic. If what you are seeing is not an occasional soft smile during otherwise normal sleep, but repeated unusual episodes that concern you,
especially if they come with stiffening, odd repetitive movements, loss of responsiveness, or happen while awake in a way that feels off, it is always okay to mention it to your pediatrician. Not because sleep smiles are dangerous, but because parents should never feel guilty for checking something that doesn't sit right. And there is another quieter caution too. Do not compare your baby's sleep expressions or sleep habits to someone else's baby online. Babies vary enormously. More movement does not automatically mean worse sleep. Less movement does not automatically mean better sleep. Newborn sleep is biologically messy by design, which means the real comfort here is not in forcing perfect sleep, but in understanding what normal can actually look like. And once you understand that, the whole scene changes. Because that little smile stops being a mystery you need to solve and starts becoming something much gentler. A glimpse into a brain becoming itself.
It is early
So
human
what is the
development happening in plain
psychology
sight.
of babies
It is
who
active
smile
sleep
in
doing
their
what
sleep?
active sleep is supposed
It
to
is
do.
not just
It is the brain
sweetness.
connecting circuits.
It is not just gas. It is not just dreaming. And it is not just random. It is early human development happening in plain sight. It is active sleep doing what active sleep is supposed to do. It is a young nervous system practicing expression before expression becomes social. It is the brain connecting circuits, the body rehearsing patterns, and the baby moving through a stage of life where so much is being built beneath the surface. That is why these smiles feel so moving. Because even before your baby can intentionally smile at you, their body is already preparing for connection. Before they can fully join your world, their brain is getting ready for it. And maybe that is the most reassuring part of all. You do not need to decode every sleep smile perfectly to be a good parent. You do not need to turn it into a dream story or a milestone chart. Sometimes it is enough to understand that your baby's sleep is active for a reason, and that these tiny expressions are often signs of a system growing, not signs of something gone wrong. So the next time you see that sleepy little grin, you can still smile back. Not because you know exactly what your baby is thinking, but because you understand something deeper. That even in sleep, your baby is developing in ways that are invisible, intelligent, and profoundly human. And if this changed the way you see your baby sleep, stay with this channel,